Hi everyone. Today I want to share with you how we design and execute an existing concept for a fantasy book cover. Also, there's a nice opportunity for you at the end of the video. Now, coming up with a concept would be a whole video in itself, but I hope some of you will find the process of executing an existing one interesting, or maybe even learn something if you're interested in design. This won't be a super detailed step-by-step tutorial for beginners, but I'll do my best to explain what's going on in each part, so if you have at least basic Photoshop skills, you should be able to follow. So let's get into it. On the screen you can see all the elements for this design, with the exception of text, which is just a short title, the corvus, author name and a small subtitle. I've picked out two color schemes that are contrasting but do not clash. There's a grunge texture and there are 4 photos that I plan to combine. The book is about a young lady that has a pet crow who gives her magical powers during the night. Most of the story takes place in the woods. Okay, let's start. I'll create a new 5x8 inch document and I'll try to isolate the crow from the background. We'll use him as a centerpiece of the cover, with the girl superimposed over him. Let's say it's a type of double exposure effect. I'll use the quick selection tool and the refine edge technique. In this next part, I'll add the crow as a centerpiece and woods as the background, creating space for the title on the bottom, author name on top and the moon with the subtitle on the top right. Next, I'll insert the girl and clip the layer onto the crow layer. This way the photo is only visible where the crow is. We'll smooth it out using a layer mask and a soft brush. Okay, so now for the most fun part, applying the color scheme. In this design, I'll use the gradient map feature. I could use hue adjustments, channel mixer or color balance adjustments, but this time I'm really looking to apply the colors as close as possible. So gradient map works this way. The color that's closest to the left will replace the darkest color of the photo. The one on the opposite end will replace the lightest color. All in between the two replace the corresponding shades of gray. If you look at the gradient and what happens to the photo, I'm sure you'll understand it. To add more contrast, I'll twist the line in the curves adjustment. Let's now add a gradient map to the girl and the crow. I'll use the blue and turquoise colors. I'll lower the opacity of this adjustment layer just to bring through the difference between the two layers a bit. Okay, now I'm adding some layer styles to the crow, to add more dimension to it. Firstly, outer glow set to less than 50% opacity and vivid light blending mode. Remember, I could tell you the exact settings, but each cover is different and each photo is different, so do this by feel and just learn this as a technique. I'll also add an inner shadow, but we'll modify it. To add some extra pop, I'm adding a grunge texture over the whole cover. I'm setting it to overlay semi-transparent. I'll remove some of it over the girl's face using the brush and layer mask. I'll also add a simple vignette in the end. In this next part, I'll adjust the color of the moon. I'll also adjust the gradient map of the background. I just want to bring in some red hues. Okay, so now I'll position everything for the text. Firstly, I'll add the title in a nice condensed serif font. To begin, I'm picking a color from the moon, using the Alt key and the arrows to move the letters. In layer styles, I'll firstly add a nice drop shadow using the vivid light blending mode, and an inner shadow in white with the same mode. Now for the most pop, I'll use the bevel and emboss effect. This is a feature of many options, and I'm sure there are videos almost an hour long explaining everything, but I'll just increase the depth and size. I'll modify the contour with two so-called hills to add lots of contrast. I'll set it to chisel soft and add a scaled down texture. As you can see, the color got way too bright and saturated, so I'll select something that goes with the other colors better. Let's also duplicate the grunge texture, clip it to this text layer and set it to color burn, adjusting the opacity by looking. We can duplicate these layers for the first word, only adjusting the inner shadow size. I'll group the layers of the second word and create a layer mask that will also mask the layer styles, like the drop shadow. I'm trying to add some dimension by hiding one of the letters with the crow. I'm also adding a shadow over that letter. All that's left to do is to add the author name and the subtitle. I'm using an uppercase serif font for the author name, making sure it's not too dominant in this case. Another serif font with the lowercase letters is used for the subtitle. I'll copy the drop shadow effect from the title and adjust it. Lastly, let's make sure everything is nicely aligned, top to bottom and also side to side. So there you go, this is our finished project. I hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to ask anything in the comments below, I'll gladly reply. And now for our freebie. In the description box, you'll find a list of questions for a book cover design. If you have a book that you'd like us to create a cover for, free of charge, send us the answers in the comments. We just might select you and feature your book cover in our next video. We're only just starting the channel, so you have really good chances. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed it. Bye bye!